Happy Crocktober, everybody! Here's the deal. Crockpot recipes, they rock, but they're not always all gonna fit into your schedule. I get it. If you leave at 8 in the morning and get back at 5 at night, there's a lot of recipes that if you put those in the crockpot, they're gonna be dry as can be. But that's not gonna happen with these. I have compiled 9 crockpot recipes that can go all day. They're gonna go 8 to 10 hours and they're still gonna taste delicious. You're gonna be getting home at 5 o'clock through that door and everything is gonna taste amazing. Dinner's gonna be done for you. And they can even go longer. So even if you're stuck in traffic, you're gonna be just fine coming home to these delicious meals.
We're gonna get started with a classic beef stew. I am going to put this in the microwave and just defrost it there. Get the counter. Got a whole pound of baby carrots been sitting around. That's perfect for beef stew. And I have potatoes that, they need some love, but I think I can cut those off of there and with just the right amount to make a beef stew. Got to use what we have. Even if it looks like it's going bad, it's still good. The potatoes are still good. Just cut those eyes right off. I am just going to toss my beef stew meat, which is a chuck meat, in with a couple tablespoons of flour and a half a teaspoon of garlic powder and salt and pepper. And then I'm just going to brown this over medium heat on my skillet. And you just want to brown all sides of that stew beef. At the same time, add in a chopped onion, and you just want to cook that up with your meat as well. Now, for some reason, even though you would think that like chuck stew meat would be the cheapest meat, I find it actually to be very expensive most of the time. So I wait for it to go on sale or I will buy it on clearance. So this one in particular, it was on clearance. And then with my stew, I also try and add extra potatoes and carrots because I usually only have like a pound or so of meat, which is fine for just our family. And then I'll just go heavy on the potatoes and the carrots. Now, I like this recipe because it calls for V8 juice, which I didn't have, so I actually just substituted some tomato sauce, which I already had in my fridge. I added in a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, a few sprigs of thyme that I just happen to have left over. They're pretty dry, but they still have the flavor in them. And then 4 cups of beef broth, and I use beef bouillon, and about half this pound of carrots. And then I cut up a bunch of those potatoes and added this to my crock pot too. Now, I actually didn't use all the potatoes, so you'll see I ended up doing something with that later so that I didn't waste anything. And I did have a little bit of celery, so I added that in too, and so I just used what I had left. And then you want to add in your onion and your seared chuck. And then you just want to cover this and cook it on low for 8 to 10 hours or high for 4 to 5 hours. And once your beef stew is done, you want to make a slurry. So it's 2 tablespoons of water and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and then add that into your beef stew and then cook it for an additional 45 minutes. So just add that in, mix it up, and that is going to make sure that your beef stew has a nice thick flavor. And this is so hearty and so delicious. Now, I have 8 more recipes coming, but I did want to let you know that all of these recipes can be found down in the description box, and there's going to be different places you can get them. Sometimes I'm going to be sending you to a website, but sometimes I also have a free ebook for you. On top of that, I am also holding a 24-hour sale on my monthly meal plans. So for just $7.99 a month, usually $9.99, you can get my monthly meal plan subscription. And that includes 12 pantry-friendly recipes so that you can cook with what you already have, 12 seasonal recipes that line up with what's going to be on sale in your area. So these are mix and match. It's a little bit different than a traditional meal plan. This is designed to save you money. These are designed to be recipes that you don't have to scroll through Pinterest. You don't have to deal with ads. These are recipes that you can use what you already have and things that are on sale to make seasonal recipes. You're also going to get 8 breakfasts and 4 desserts. And if you sign up for my yearly plan, so that's $60 per year for the whole year, you get a discount as it is, quite a good discount. You're also going to get my Smart Spend Bootcamp for free. And that is lessons with me on how to cut your grocery bill with all of the information that I use to save my family money on food. You're also going to get my Quick List Creator, which is the spreadsheet system that I use weekly to manage my kitchen. So only for the next 24 hours, you're going to be able to get that deal. You can click on that in the link in the description box below. My next recipe, this is such a good one. This is a beef barbacoa taco. And as soon as I saw it, I just knew that this was something we had to make.
So you want to start off with a 1/4 cup of cilantro minced, and I'm just going to put that into one of my larger measuring cups, and we're going to make like a paste, a sauce that's going to go onto our beef. And then I'm going to add a 1/3 cup of tomato paste, and that's just going to go in there. We're going to end up mixing everything, so not to worry, just going to go on top. I'm going to use 8 cloves of garlic. You cannot go wrong with so much garlic. It is so good in this. This is just so flavorful. As I'm talking about it, I can't wait to make it again. I almost wonder if I could make up like the sauce as like a paste ahead of time and put it in the freezer and then just have it on hand. I bet I could. Then you want to use 2 tablespoons of peppers in adobo. And then you also want to use like a tablespoon of sauce from that. So you can see I'm trying my best to kind of get it out. I didn't really want to like chop them up. I'm sure you could. I didn't feel the need to in the end. It was plenty of the peppers and adobo, and I didn't want it to be too spicy for the kids. And then 2 tablespoons of cider vinegar, 4 tablespoons of cumin. So a lot of cumin in here. Make sure you have cumin on hand. I actually have to buy some, so I've been going through it like crazy. And then you want to use a tablespoon, and I think I actually used 2 tablespoons of brown sugar because you can't go wrong with that. And 1.5 teaspoons of salt, as well as a teaspoon of pepper. And then just mix everything up. Now the recipe says to take your, I think it's like a 3+ pound beef and slice it in half. And then I think it's like a round roast. And then just kind of cover it. So you can see I was trying to use my spatula and be like all dainty, and I was like, forget it. This is not, we're just going to have to rub this in. That's going to be the best way to do this. So you can get messy with it, however you want to do it. And then place that in your crock pot. And then you just want to pour 1 cup of beef stock over the top. And you're going to cook that on low for 8 hours and then shred it. So I served mine with some queso fresco, some tomatoes, some fresh avocado, and cilantro. You can use whatever you want. And then I served it with corn tortillas. I just like to cook those up on the pan and just get them a little bit warm. If you don't cook your tortillas at all, they break in half. It's really weird. So make sure that you follow the directions. You can do them in the microwave. I think they're really soggy in the microwave. So personally, I love to just cook them on a pan on like high heat, just for a few seconds on each side, and they get really perfect. And then I just sliced up my meat and put it on a big pan like this with the sauce, and the flavor was so good. You also see that I have some Greek yogurt and some pico, and I ended up serving mine with the queso fresco, a bunch of cilantro, and then I ended up adding the, I think it was a pico on top of that.
This next recipe is the easiest and probably cheapest. It's something I learned from my mother-in-law. She makes this and my family absolutely loves it. Sometimes she'll like send it over our house, which is great. It is a simple sausage and sauce in the crock pot. You can see I bought those sausages on manager special. When I grabbed them, I put them right in the freezer, and then I just defrosted them when I knew I was going to use them. So I was able to use 2 packages of sausages for only $3. And then I have my jar of Classico sauce. That's the type of sauce that I like. So I've been trying to buy that on sale, but you can use whatever sauce you like. You can get cheaper sauce. That's fine too. I mean, that's all good. Tomato sauce, you really can't go wrong. So you just want to take your sausage, put that in the crock pot, and then put your tomato sauce, whatever type of sauce you like, over the top. And then you can set that on high for 4 to 5 hours or low for 6 to 8. And your sausage will cook up perfectly. You're going to want to serve this with some pasta. I used rigatoni. My husband did this while I was bringing the kids to karate. So it was super easy, ready to go when we got home. And it was delicious. Also served it with some garlic bread. I grabbed this garlic bread on reduced, I think it was ready, 1 day old or whatever. Garlic bread from the grocery store is so good. I mean, you can make it yourself too, but hey, it was there. It was on sale. For this one, I'm going to show you how to make pulled pork. And with this pulled pork, you can just eat it as is. You can get some cornbread on the side with a salad. You could put it in between 2 slices of bread. I know some people just serve it with white bread. That's kind of the way to do it. You can make pulled pork sliders. You can make pulled pork nachos. You can even make a pulled pork casserole. And I will make sure to put a video where I do all of these things down in the description box for you. But for today, we're just going to show you how to make this delicious pulled pork. We're going to dice up 1 yellow onion and place that in the bottom of our crock pot along with 4 diced garlic
garlic cloves, and the recipe calls for the juice of 1 orange, and I didn't have that. So I actually ended up using orange marmalade, and it tasted delicious. So I was just looking for anything orange flavored or orange citrusy that was in my refrigerator or cabinets, and I happened to find that, and I thought that would be a great substitute. So that just is an encouragement to you to look around your house and see what you have when you don't have the exact ingredients that you need in a recipe. Alternatively, when it comes to the diced yellow onion and chopped garlic, if you don't have fresh, you can always use powdered, and we're just going to add that to the rub that we would put onto our pork butt. For the rub, I'm using a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of white pepper, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of salt. And we're just going to mix that well, and we'll end up putting that on our meat. You can also add some smoked paprika to that. I didn't because I was making a recipe for my mom and she has an allergy, so I didn't add that in, but smoked paprika would make it taste delicious as well. So we're just going to put all of your chopped onions in the bottom of that crock pot along with your minced garlic and a couple of teaspoons of marmalade or the juice of an orange. Then rub your spice mixture all around your entire piece of pork. Add that to your slow cooker and cook on low for 8 hours. It turns out absolutely delicious. There was no bone, but fall off the bone good. It's so tender and flavorful, and there is so much meat here. There is a little bit of fat, but aside from that, all of that is amazing meat that we can make meals with. For this next recipe, we're going to make a chipotle beef, and this is so good too. You want about 1/4 cup of orange juice and 1/4 cup of lime juice, and then I use an entire can of whole chipotle peppers and adobo because I wasn't exactly sure. I got this recipe from TikTok. If I was going to do it again, I'd probably use like 1/4 can because it was pretty spicy, but it was still pretty good. And then 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of cider vinegar, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, then 1 diced onion and 6 diced cloves of garlic. And you could use a tablespoon of garlic powder here or onion powder as well if you don't have fresh. Just want to give that a good stir and then place your chuck roast in there. Mine was probably 3 or 4 pounds. And then you want to marinate this for 2 hours to 24 hours. So as much time as you have. I just did mine for a couple of hours, and I think because those adobos were in there and they were so spicy, everything tasted really good. There was a lot of flavor, so no worries if you can't marinate it for that long. You do want to cook this one on low for 8 to 10 hours, and it is like fall off the bone, even though there's no bone, but it is so juicy, so delicious, so flavorful. I just served mine with some green beans, but you could easily serve this over mashed potatoes or make it a taco. You can totally make a taco out of this. Put it in a corn or flour tortilla, a little bit of cilantro, some sour cream, salsa, and you're going to be all set. It is absolutely phenomenal. Just something different than I've done in the past because I've done, like the Italian roast before and just like a regular pot roast, and I just want to try something different. So it was just a great new option for me to try, and it's definitely something that we will make again. This next one is slow cooker ground beef enchiladas. These are amazing. I'm going to cut up 1 onion and 1 red pepper. Both these additions are delicious, but if you don't have them on hand, you can always use about a tablespoon of onion powder and completely omit the red pepper if you don't have it. I'm using 1 pound of ground beef, and you'll notice that I am not browning this before I put it in my crock pot. Most recipes I see, you have to brown the ground beef before you cook it, and in this case, you can put it right in there, which makes me very, very happy. Then I have 1 15-ounce can of tomato sauce and 2 cubes of chicken bouillon. I've grabbed about a tablespoon of tomato paste right out of my freezer, pop that in, and then I have 2 drained and rinsed cans of kidney beans. For spices, add 3 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, and 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. Give it a good mix, and then you can cook this for 8 hours on low or 4 hours on high. This mixture on its own was good enough to eat as it was, or maybe even just like with some chips and sour cream. But to make it even better, we're going to add some sliced up tortillas. So I have about 10 smaller soft shell tortillas, flour tortillas, and I slice those into strips. You want to place those right into your crock pot and mix them around really well into your mixture. And And then you can top that with 1 to 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese. I also think that cheddar cheese would be great here too. So whatever your choice is, I did do it with the mozzarella and it was wonderful. And then you put the cover on and you want to cook this for another 30 minutes on high until your cheese is melted. Alternatively, you can actually pop it into a hot oven for about 10 minutes. My mouth is watering just watching this. I can't wait to make it again. It turned out so cheesy and ooey gooey and delicious. I just topped kind of on the side here for garnish some chopped up red peppers and scallions. And then I topped the whole thing with some chopped cilantro. If you had dried cilantro, you could use that as well. None of these things are absolutely necessary because this is still going to taste awesome with or without it. I just served ours with some corn on the side and a little bit of sour cream, but holy moly, this was so good. Everybody was raving about it. It was an absolute winner. Ben was also a fan, as usual. He's such a good eater, and he really devoured this. We're going to start off by making a slow cooker cube steak. This was my first time working with cube steak and I was pleasantly surprised. It was so good. This gravy you can see is so delicious. Start off by slicing 1 medium to large onion. If you don't have onion, you can always do a tablespoon of onion powder. Surprise, surprise, I wasn't recording, but I put a couple of pounds of cube steak in the bottom of my slow cooker. I covered that with 1 packet of Lipton onion soup mix, and if you have the beefy kind, you can use that too. And then I'm putting the onion over the top. You want to cover this with 1 packet of brown gravy mix and 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup. I have found in the past that with a recipe like this, the gravy kind of turns out watery. That is not the case. When you use these things, you use that thickening agent in that gravy mix with this cube steak, it is a nice, thick, delicious gravy. You just want to cover this and cook it on low for 6 hours, and out comes this amazing cube steak. I was able to find some on sale at Walmart, pop it in my freezer, and then use it for this special occasion. You can see how those onions all cooked up and they're almost like caramelized. That gravy is so amazing, and your steak is cooked all the way through. I just served mine with some French green beans with one of the recipes from my green bean video, which I will put in the description box below, and some really inexpensive rice pilaf. So this dinner can be easily less than $10 and so good. Next one, we're going to make a mushroom beef stew, and this one is very pantry friendly, which is kind of why I chose it, and it was quite delicious, super easy, low ingredient. Start with a pound or 2 or 3 of beef stew meat. I was actually able to find mine on sale at Walmart, and I just threw that in the freezer. I always try and grab stew meat when I can and throw that in the freezer. Lately, I have seen it on sale for less, so go ahead and grab that. You want 2 cans of mushrooms and 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. And then again, we're going to use that Lipton onion soup mix and just pour that over the top. Go ahead and give it a good stir and cover and cook on low for 8 to 10 hours. I just did mine for 8 hours and the meat was perfect. Because I did extra meat, I think I did like 3 pounds of meat and it only said to do 1 in the recipe. I did end up adding some extra seasoning salt for flavor, and that was all it needed to taste quite amazing. I served mine over some mashed potatoes, which I did kind of doctor up according to one of the recipes in my mashed potato video, which I'll also put in the description box if you want to check out how to doctor up some just boxed mashed potatoes. Super easy and delicious, and just canned corn. So again, so inexpensive. Just buy that meat. You have the rest of the stuff hopefully on hand in your cabinets. That is so good. Ben in particular was a huge fan. This is Mississippi pot roast. You're going to need 1 chuck steak, 1 stick of butter, a packet of ranch seasoning, a packet of onion soup mix, and pepperoncinis. So, this is so good and it's so easy. It's one of those recipes that actually is dump and go. I don't know if you're like me, but I get a little frustrated when people say things are dump and go, that you have to cook this on the stove first and whatnot. No, you put this one in the pot, you put the stuff on top, and that is that. So it makes your Christmas day so easy. and it is so flavorful and mouthwatering. I am so excited to share. And just to clarify, you do need about 8 pepperoncinis with no juice, and then we're going to cook on low heat for 8 hours. And this is what it looks like when it is done. You can see an amazing mouthwatering roast. When I served this, I put it on a large white platter so that we could just slice it up on the table. And I served it with an Instant Pot red bliss mashed potato and some Parmesan green beans. I want to thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to claim your discount on my monthly meal plan, the pantry friendly meals that is only available for the next 24 hours.